Have you ever felt like you're living a life for others? Have you ever found yourself exhausted from trying to prove yourself, please others, or keep up? Amid countless expectations, gazes, standards, and comparisons, you suddenly realize the real you, your true self, has been forgotten for far too long. You wake up each morning, grab your phone, and are instantly swept into a noisy world. Someone just bought a house, someone's traveling, someone's succeeding, and you're still trying. But in the rush to keep up with others, you've never had time to truly look at yourself. This isn't your fault, it's the system. A society that makes you think your worth lies in likes, recognition, or possessions. But the truth is, your value isn't in anyone's gaze. It's in how you treat yourself, how honest you are with your inner world, and the courage you have to live without needing the crowd's applause. It's time to prioritize you, focus on you, and quietly work toward the version of yourself you know you can become, no matter who sees or cheers. If this message resonates, hit like to let me know. Subscribe now if you're seeking a space to nurture inner strength, awareness, and authenticity, without noise or pretense. And if something in you is stirring to awaken, comment below. I'm ready to live for myself. Number 1, the power of silent discipline. Not everyone who works hard succeeds, but every successful person is quietly persistent. They aren't loud. They don't proclaim. They don't need anyone to know. They simply, steadily, bit by bit, in the dark, in silence, over enough time, turn their efforts into something undeniable. That's the power of silent discipline. In an era where everyone rushes to flaunt what they're doing, staying quiet, letting actions speak, is a rare strength. You might see someone post daily gym updates, but that means little if they quit after a few weeks. Then there are those who say nothing, share nothing, yet when you see them a year later, they're transformed, stronger, clearer, deeper. They don't need to announce. They don't need to prove. They only need results, and those results can't be faked. In silence, they forge themselves. In silence, they build a solid foundation. And when the time comes, their competence speaks loudest. The power of silent discipline isn't in grandeur, but in consistency. You don't need to do too much in a day. Just repeat the right things, however small, daily. A page read, a healthy meal, 10 minutes of meditation, 30 minutes of exercise, a task finished, a small limit pushed. No one sees, no one claps, but you know, you feel yourself moving forward, and you don't need anyone's validation. Those with silent discipline understand that true transformation happens within, not for a crowd's eyes. If you still need to share every step for recognition, it might signal you're living more for approval than real growth. That's not wrong, but it makes you dependent. You'll work well when watched, but quit when unnoticed. In contrast, those with inner discipline work even when no one cares, and they don't stop just because no one pays attention. Surprisingly, these quiet ones change the most. They don't need to speak. They don't waste energy explaining or proving. Their change unfolds slowly, silently, like an underground stream carving through rock. One day you don't recognize them, not because they tried to be someone else, but because they finally became their truest, strongest, clearest self. Want to build inner strength? Stop sharing too soon. Keep what you're building to yourself. Let silence be the soil where your will grows. Great things need quiet to take root. A seed doesn't sprout under applause. Muscles don't grow from attention. Wisdom doesn't bloom in chaos. Only in silent discipline do you truly discover how strong you can be. Choose to work without declaring. Choose to move forward without company. Choose to change without validation. Then one day you'll look back and see, your silence wasn't empty. It was the foundation for everything lasting and worthiest of pride. If you've ever started anew in silence, if you're building a new version of yourself that no one knows, comment below, "I'm working in the dark." That's not just a phrase, it's a commitment, a vow to yourself. If this message resonates with your journey, like the video to let me know you're with me. Share it with someone feeling lost, because sometimes the quietest ones need understanding most. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now, because we don't need noise to grow. We just need truth, persistence, and those awake enough to see that silent discipline is the root of the extraordinary. Number 2, why seeking validation is a trap. We grow up with a natural need to be recognized. As children, we seek praise to know we're doing right, approval to feel we belong. But if we're not awake, this need follows us into adulthood, quietly turning us into someone who lives for others' gazes. Every choice, action, decision becomes a performance for applause. And when no one claps, we panic. Doubt ourselves. Change not to be truer, but to fit others' expectations. That's the trap of validation. It doesn't come with a shout, but with subtle nudges. It makes you cautious about every photo you post, every status you write. It drives you to compare yourself to others more than to listen to yourself. It turns you into an edited version of yourself, just to be called great, right, cool, or inspiring. But when the spotlight fades, when no one's watching, you feel empty, because you haven't truly lived as you. You've only played a role society applauds. We often don't realize validation is a double-edged sword. It can motivate, but it easily enslaves. When you need recognition to act, you've handed control of your life to others. Today they like you, you're happy. Tomorrow they forget you, you're lost. A compliment fuels you. A criticism makes you want to quit. You become a product of others' whims, not an independent being. Those who live awake know, recognition may come, but it shouldn't be why you live. The irony is, the more you chase validation, the less authentic you become. Yet authenticity is what truly draws people. When you do something because it's right, because you believe in it, because it matters to you, even if no one knows, you keep going. And when you do this long enough, the right people will come. Not because you tried to please them, but because you didn't. What matters isn't how many praise you, but whether you respect yourself when no one's watching. Do you hold your values when no one cheers? Do you keep acting when there's no applause? That's true freedom. Only when you live from inner strength, not external approval, do you truly control your life. Many talented people lose this freedom. They become slaves to their own image. They fear change, worried their audience will stop supporting them. They fear being real, scared of criticism. They fear mistakes, terrified their image will crumble. But the truth is, the cost of always being liked is forgetting who you are. You don't need everyone to understand, love, or agree with you. You only need to stay connected to yourself. Living true to your values may lose you some people, but it will find you yourself, and that's always worth it. If you've lived to please others, said what's expected instead of what's true, or reshaped yourself to be accepted, pause. Not to defy society, but to reconnect with your heart. You're the one who lives with the consequences, results, and ripple effects of every choice you make. When you let go of needing validation, you'll feel a strange lightness. No chasing standards, no straining, no over-editing, just living, working, and moving toward what you believe is right. Then you won't need external motivation. Your inner reasons will be enough. If you're on the path to releasing validation, comment below, "I don't need anyone to confirm my worth." If you've lived for applause but are now learning to walk alone, leave a dot to let me know you're here and you're not alone. If this message hits the root of your daily struggles, like the video. Share it with someone trying to live for others' approval. They need a reminder they're enough. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here, we don't live to be liked. We live to be real, strong enough to do what's right without needing the crowd's applause. Number 3, the art of detachment from opinion. You are not what others think of you. It's a simple truth, but it takes countless experiences, wounds, and awakenings to truly sink in. Throughout life, you'll constantly be seen, judged, labeled. Too little, too much, too slow, too fast, too dreamy, too practical. People will have opinions. If you let those opinions become your life's map, you'll get lost. You'll live a life that isn't yours just to avoid judgment. The biggest trap isn't criticism. It's believing that criticism defines you. Someone says you're not good enough, and you stop trying. Someone says you don't fit, and you retreat. Someone laughs when you start, and you quit. You don't fall because of their words, but because you carry them as truth. But others' opinions, good or bad, aren't truth. They're just perspectives, shaped by their experiences, fears, biases, and limits. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "I have the power to not be troubled by what causes me pain, and I can choose how to respond to everything." You can't control what others say, but you can control what you believe and how you react. That's the art of detaching from others' opinions. Not ignoring them, but not being controlled by them. Some will praise you, and you'll feel elated. Some will criticize, and you'll feel hurt. That's natural. But if you sway with every compliment, every glance, every judgment, you become a puppet of your surroundings. An emotionally mature person isn't numb. They know where their feelings come from and don't let those feelings steer their entire life. You can hear feedback. You can consider it. But ultimately, you decide what's true, what's enough, what matters. If you don't learn to detach from others' opinions, you'll live in a defensive state, always wondering, will I be misunderstood? Will they think poorly of me? Will I be judged? When your mind is consumed by these questions, you lose space to create, learn, or live fully as yourself. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It means listening without drowning. You understand others can think whatever they want, but it doesn't inherently reflect your true worth. It doesn't alter what you're building, and it's not strong enough to stop you from continuing. A clear sign of inner growth is staying calm when misunderstood. No need to explain, prove, or strain to correct others' views. They may never understand, and you don't live to make them understand. You live to understand yourself. Those who detach from opinions are free. Freedom isn't being unjudged. It's not needing agreement to keep walking. It's living authentically, even without support. It's holding inner peace amid noise. That freedom begins when you realize what others say is about them, not you. Someone may have said you'll never achieve anything great, but you can. Someone may have called you not smart enough, not attractive enough, not strong enough, but you're growing smarter, more captivating, stronger every day. You don't need to prove it to them. You just need to keep going, silently, persistently, clear on your chosen path. If you've been deeply swayed by others' opinions and are learning to break free, comment, "I no longer live by others' gazes." If you're on the journey to live true to your inner values, comment one word, freedom. If this video voices what you've struggled to express, like it to let me know you resonate. Share it with someone hurt by judgment. Sometimes they just need a gentle reminder they don't have to believe what others say. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here, we don't learn to be perfect by others' standards. We learn to hold peace, truth, and strength, even when misunderstood. Number 4, the Stoic mindset on hard work. In a world chasing shortcuts, instant success, and immediate results, the Stoic mindset on hard work feels like a paradox. Stoics don't work for praise, visibility, or fleeting inspiration. They work because it's the right thing to do. They choose effort not for promised glory, but because it shapes them into the person they want to become. Stoics understand outcomes may or may not come, but action is within your control. So they focus on action, persistence, the process, not obsessing over achievements. Embracing this mindset brings freedom. You stop swaying to others' success speeds. You cease envying or comparing. You realize today's small, silent efforts are quietly building a stronger future you. Stoicism emphasizes, only do something if you do it quietly. If you only act for an audience, rewards, or recognition, you're chasing attention, not growth. Stoics work when no one knows, cares, or celebrates. They rise early to train. They write without readers. They learn without degrees. They labor not to prove anything, but because not doing so would betray themselves. A core Stoic principle is controlling what you can and letting go of the rest. You can't control whether others recognize you or how the world responds, but you can control waking up early, training, finishing tasks without reminders, keeping promises to yourself. Mastering these makes you no victim of circumstance. You become the master of your life. Look at those quietly improving daily. They don't complain about their environment, blame their starting point, or excuse lack of time. They just do. They know every reasonable-sounding excuse moves them 0 millimeters forward. Only action gets you where you want. Waiting for readiness, motivation, or perfect conditions means waiting a lifetime. Stoics don't wait, they start. And once they start, they don't turn back. That's why Stoics have immense inner strength. They don't force constant cheer, but always act. Tired, failed, unrecognized. They keep going. For them, action isn't driven by emotion, but chosen by reason. This doesn't make them cold. It makes them consistent. They don't let their life drift with moods. They anchor it with discipline and will. You don't need to work to exhaustion. Stoicism doesn't glorify extremes. But be honest. Are you moving forward today? Are you doing what you know you should? If not, skip the excuses. Start now. No fanfare, no show, just action. Hard work isn't about becoming a superhuman. It's about becoming someone you're proud of when you look back. That's the only thing that matters. Not money, not fame, but knowing you didn't betray what you believe is right. Bit by bit, this leads you to places no one thought you'd reach. If you're working quietly daily, rebuilding yourself without anyone knowing, comment, I'm acting, though results aren't here yet. If you once thought motivation was needed to start, but today choose work despite fatigue, comment, I choose action over emotion. If this video fuels your journey, like it to let me know you're still here, still fighting. Share it with someone discouraged. Sometimes a single reminder can help them rise. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here you won't hear sweet talk or success hacks. You'll find truth, persistence, and belief that silent hard work is the most powerful way to transform a life. Number 5, embracing failure as fuel for growth. No one likes failure. No one seeks it out, but no one truly grows without facing it. Failure is an inevitable part of any worthwhile journey. It's not the end, but a vital part of transformation. If you're awake enough to see it clearly, you'll realize every failure teaches you something success never could. The Stoic mindset doesn't just teach us to accept failure, it teaches us to use it. Stoics don't fear failure because they know the only thing they control is their effort. Outcomes may or may not come, but if your actions align with sound values, even failure is progress. Stoics don't see failure as a full stop, but as an honest conversation between themselves and reality. That conversation can hurt, but it shows you who you are, what you lack, what to refine, and where you're off course. We grow up in a system that shames mistakes. School teaches you to be right. Society demands early success. The internet makes you think everyone's thriving, achieving, never faltering. So when you stumble, you feel like an outlier. But the truth is, the best have all failed. They just didn't let it define them. They let it forge them. You don't lose when you fall. You lose when you refuse to get up. Because that fall, if you're brave enough to face it, is when you learn fastest. Failure strips away masks. You can't blame others anymore. You can't hide in illusions. It's just you, raw, exposed, facing your true limits. If you don't run, if you stay in the pain and learn to do better, that becomes the most powerful fuel for growth. Those with inner strength aren't those who never stumble. They're the ones who fail intelligently. They know the pain is temporary, but the lesson lasts. After each failure, they journal, asking, "What did I do wrong? Where was I unprepared? What signs did I miss?" They don't blame. They don't hide. They use failure as a mirror to adjust. Think of your last failure. Maybe you missed a goal, lost a big opportunity, faced rejection, betrayal, or hurt. But what happened next? You're still here, still listening, seeking, moving forward. That's proof you're stronger than you think. If you look back honestly, you'll see the failure didn't destroy you. It was how you thought about it, carrying it as a burden, a verdict that held you back. Stoics teach, if you learn nothing from pain, you'll repeat it. But if you learn, it becomes an asset. No lesson is meaningless if you observe. No failure is wasted if you turn it into wisdom. Most importantly, you are not your failure. You are the one overcoming it. Let your scars guide you, not to defend, but to act wiser, to know where to be patient, prepare better, stay disciplined. Each fall is a chance to refine your path, learn and return. Stronger, sharper, quieter. If you're facing failure now, don't rush to call it a mistake. It might be the springboard for a greater leap. Reflect on your journey. Ask, what did I learn? How will I do better? And most crucially, do I dare continue? If you've risen after a fall, comment, I didn't stay down, I'm learning. If you're in a shaky phase, write, I'm not done, I'm being forged. If this video captures what you feel but couldn't express, like it to let me know you're here, fighting, learning, advancing. Share it with someone who's lost faith after a stumble. You never know, your share today might stop them from giving up. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here we don't sugarcoat the journey, we don't deny wounds. We face them, learn, and become stronger. Not through perfection, but through the courage to navigate the hardest things. Number 6, mastering emotional control. Emotions aren't the enemy, but letting them steer your life will lead you astray. In any situation, your first reaction may be instinctual, but your next action must come from reason. That's the difference between someone who reacts emotionally and someone who masters their emotions. Stoics don't deny sadness, anger, fear, or frustration. They just refuse to let those emotions become the rudder of their lives. Mastering emotions doesn't mean feeling nothing. On the contrary, you feel deeply, authentically, but you don't let those feelings dictate your behavior. You can be angry, yet stay silent. Hurt, yet act kindly. Panicked inside, yet move forward calmly. That's true strength, not pretending you're fine, but not letting the not fine control you. In a world where everyone reacts quickly, gets angry fast, or rushes to judge, the person who stays calm stands out. The one who pauses 3 seconds before responding holds the upper hand. The one who restrains rather than unloads anger controls the consequences. The one who observes emotions before acting isn't led by their surroundings. This isn't a natural gift, it's a skill honed daily. Stoics teach that emotions are like weather. They come and go. You can't stop them from arising, but you can learn to handle them. When it rains, you don't go outside resentful or raging. You bring an umbrella or stay indoors. Similarly, when sadness, frustration, or envy hits, you don't fight it. You observe it. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it become your identity. Don't let it push you to regretful actions. Many think emotional control is suppression. It's not. Suppression is pretending the emotion isn't there, only to explode later. Control is acknowledging the emotion, but choosing a wise response. When you master this, you're no longer a victim of your mind. You feel lighter, clearer, and over time, you become steady as a rock amid storms. You'll have days when your mood dips for no reason. Moments when someone's words sting. Times when anger makes you want to break everything. But if you pause, breathe, and hold back from reacting instantly, you've saved yourself from a chain of unnecessary consequences. Calmness is power. But that power doesn't come from outside. It's forged by training yourself to face emotions without being overwhelmed. Practice writing down intense emotions. Don't let them swirl in your head. Writing detaches you, letting you observe like an outsider. Learn to name your emotions. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling betrayed. I'm feeling ashamed. It sounds simple, but it's the first step to not being led by them. Naming an emotion separates you from it, and once separated, you can choose how to respond. Mastering emotions doesn't mean always being happy. It means being okay when you're not, steady when you're messy inside, acting rightly despite inner turbulence. That's why emotional control isn't just a life skill. It's an absolute advantage in personal growth, career, relationships, and spiritual journeys. If you've let emotions ruin relationships, hinder work, or lead to regret, don't blame yourself. Use those moments to start anew. With more observation, less reaction. You don't need to be perfect instantly. Just aim to react a bit slower than yesterday. Each time you control your emotions instead of letting them control you, you're a step closer to a stronger self. If you're training to master your emotions, comment, "I don't rush to react. I observe first." If you've acted in anger and are learning to manage it, comment honestly, "I'm relearning silence." If this video feels like a timely nudge to reconnect with yourself, like it to let me know you're still building inner strength. Share it with someone easily hurt or impulsive. They don't need judgment. They need understanding and a clearer path. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here we don't pretend to be strong. We train to become strong through calm, control, and the ability to keep a steady mind amid life's biggest waves. Number 7, the power of consistency and habit. People often overestimate fleeting bursts of effort and underestimate the power of steady repetition. A moment of brilliance may get you noticed, but it's the habits you repeat daily that create lasting, unstealable results. Discipline isn't about extraordinary acts in a single day. It's about ordinary actions you sustain for a year without quitting. That quiet repetition shapes who you become. Stoics didn't chase flashiness. They sought stability. They didn't care if you could do something impressive once, but whether you could do the right thing daily, regardless of weather, mood, or circumstance. They knew the extraordinary is built from tiny, consistent acts. Habits reveal discipline and character most clearly. No need for words. Just look at how you start your morning, react when tired, handle pressure, or keep promises to yourself. These don't need witnesses, but they stack daily, forming your backbone, crafting a version of you that you can trust, even in the toughest times. Want to change your life? Don't chase dramatic leaps. Start by tweaking one small habit. Wake up on time. Write 10 lines each morning. Drink water before checking your phone. Exercise for 15 minutes, even without enthusiasm. Silence notifications during work. fold your blanket after waking. These seemingly trivial acts, done consistently, spark a sense of control that spills into other areas of life. Failures often share one trait: lack of consistency. They do a lot, but not long enough. They switch paths without digging deep. They start easily, but rarely endure. Meanwhile, successful people may not be faster, smarter, or more special than you, but they repeat one right thing for years. Eventually, that consistency makes them irreplaceable. Stoics call this enduring strength. It's invisible day to day, but explains why someone keeps going after failure, stays clear-headed after rejection, works hard when unseen. They know results reward persistence, not momentary excitement. Without clear habits, your mood dictates your actions. You work when happy, skip when tired, push when inspired, delay when not. But with trained habits, you act without waiting for the right mood. You don't debate whether to do it. You just do because you decided when your mind was clear. That's why building good habits and breaking bad ones is sacred. It doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your identity. Every repeated action is a vote for the person you want to become. The more votes you cast, the closer you live to that version. No one needs to validate it. You'll feel it, who you're becoming. Sometimes repeating a small task feels boring, but remember, boredom is where most quit, while the extraordinary persist. They know progress isn't always thrilling or glamorous. It's a chain of simple, repeated acts. By enduring monotony, you forge a rare skill: consistency. If you're building a new habit and feel weary, recall why you started. You don't need perfection, just don't quit. Even if it's messy, keep repeating. Even if you stumble, rise. Sustain it for months, years, and you'll reach a place others call lucky. But it's not luck. It's the result of hundreds of days repeating the right things. If you're reshaping your life with small habits, comment, "I'm choosing consistency over perfection." If you've quit from impatience but are trying again, write, "I'm starting over, and this time I won't stop." If this video stirs a quiet resolve to keep going unseen, like it as a nod to yourself. Share it with someone beating themselves up for slow progress. They may not need speed, just steadiness. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here, we don't teach becoming the best in a week. We train to be better daily through small acts, consistency, and habits built in silence. Number 8, silence is a strategy for success. True success doesn't need noise. In a world where everyone competes to speak, the one who chooses silence stands out. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they know what's worth saying and what's better kept within. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. A deliberate choice by those who understand words don't change everything, but actions can. And often the most effective actions begin in absolute stillness. In Stoic philosophy, silence is part of self-mastery. Stoics don't rush to share plans, flaunt results, or argue back. They observe, they listen, they respond with reason, not impulsive emotion. Their silence isn't empty, it's rich with inner strength, restraint, and the wisdom that speaking less doesn't diminish your value. Speaking at the right moment is true power. You don't need to broadcast every move. You don't need to update others on each step of progress. Real growth doesn't need a megaphone, it needs nurturing. And the best environment for inner development is quiet. Silence lets you focus. Focus lets you repeat vital actions without distraction. And when you do the right thing long enough in silence, you won't need to speak. Your results will speak for you. Conversely, speaking too soon or too much often weakens you. Announcing goals early triggers an illusion of success. Others praise you, and you feel accomplished before starting. But that praise can sap your drive to follow through. That's why many talk but never finish. They've spent their energy on words instead of saving it for action. Silence also creates a safe space to fail. Working quietly means no pressure, no judgment, no expectations. You're free to stumble, adjust, rebuild without scrutiny. That's a privilege worth guarding. Creativity and true progress need a still space to unfold fully. You may see others loudly touting plans, goals, visions, but those who create real change are often the quietest. They let results speak. Their work reflects their ability. And they know, the less you say, the more others listen when you do speak. Silence also spares you pointless conflicts. The world is full of people eager to argue, compete, prove themselves. But if you use that time to act, you're already ahead. Not every battle needs words. Sometimes victory comes from not fighting at all. You choose silence not from weakness, but from a bigger vision. You don't need to answer every criticism. Someone says you can't do it? Let it be. Stay silent and do. Someone underestimates you? Let it be. Stay silent and advance. When you succeed, they'll reconsider. But if you waste energy proving yourself, you drain what could fuel your progress. The strong don't justify. They move forward. Silence isn't avoidance. It's conscious strategy. You know when to speak, when to stay quiet. You're not swayed by a need for attention. You work without a stage. You improve without needing validation. That makes you distinct, reliable, enduring. If you've spoken too much with too little action, ask, am I talking to do or to feel like I'm doing? Silence can remind you to turn inward, reflect, refine, and act, not to prove anything, but because you know it's right. If you're working quietly without fanfare or boasting, comment, I'm letting my actions speak. If you've been misunderstood for choosing silence, comment calmly, I don't need to say much to live right. If this chapter touches the part of you growing in quiet, like it to affirm your path. Share this video with someone feeling weak for being quiet. They need to know their silence is a form of wisdom. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here, we don't chase the spotlight. We just need a still space to nurture your will, act in silence, and let results speak. Number 9, enduring loneliness on the path to greatness. No one tells you that to become extraordinary, you'll face profound loneliness. No one teaches you that the steadiest path is often the least traveled. No one warns you that the further you move from mediocrity, the further you drift from the crowd. But that's the truth. Loneliness isn't an accident. It's an essential part of the journey to maturity, growth, and becoming your strongest self. When you start changing, saying no to distractions, setting boundaries, focusing on yourself, you'll notice not everyone is ready to walk with you. Some won't understand you anymore. Some will think you've changed. Some will quietly leave. If you're unprepared, you might think you're wrong, but you're not. You're just entering a deeper layer of growth that few dare to reach. Stoics understood this. They didn't shy away from loneliness. They faced it. They didn't see it as failure, but as an inevitable phase when you surpass the average. The deeper you go into your inner world, cutting away excess and listening to your inner voice, the wider the gap grows between you and the world. That's a sign you're becoming clearer, and clarity always comes with separation. Loneliness isn't isolation. It's the space you need to rebuild yourself. Without stillness, you can't hear yourself clearly. Without distance, you can't reflect objectively on your journey. In that quiet, you learn to befriend yourself. You learn to feel whole without others filling the void. You learn to trust your chosen path, even if no one understands, validates, or joins you. People often quit not from lack of ability, but from inability to endure loneliness. They crave companionship, validation, applause. Without these, they doubt themselves. But you must realize the solitary phase isn't about proving anything to others. It's about rebuilding the most vital connection, between you and yourself. The better you know yourself, the more resolute you become. And when you're resolute, you don't need a crowd to guide you. No one sees you staying up late to learn a new skill. No one sees your struggle over tough choices. No one sees you battling daily insecurities. But that doesn't make it meaningless. Those solitary hours are where you forge your will, where you choose not to quit, where you quietly advance while others sleep in comfort. Don't fear moments alone. They won't destroy you. They sharpen you. They teach you to discern what's real from what's false. They teach you to build inner strength instead of leaning on external crutches. And once you're strong within, no one can shake you from without. In time, you'll stop seeing loneliness as an enemy. You'll see it as a silent friend, unlikable, but necessary. You'll learn to use quiet moments to reflect, adjust, recharge. You'll find freedom in loneliness. No need to perform, compromise, or explain. Just you, the truth, in the path ahead. If you're in a phase where no one understands or walks with you, know this: you're exactly where you need to be. You're not alone. You're singular. And singularity is the first step to greatness. Not everyone reaches the end, but those who endure loneliness can arrive where they truly belong. If you're navigating this phase, comment, "I'm walking alone, but I won't stop." If you felt lost but chose to keep going, write simply, "I'm strong enough to walk alone." If this video feels like a timely nudge amid your foggy journey, like it to affirm you're still moving forward, unseen. Share it with someone feeling lonely for trying to become better. They need to know this feeling is part of the path. If you haven't subscribed, do it today. Here, you don't need to prove anything. You just need a quiet space to recover, a real space to understand yourself, and a deep space to know. Loneliness doesn't destroy, it refines. Number 10, becoming unstoppable through Stoic principles. Being unstoppable doesn't mean never failing. It means failure can't destroy you. Doubt can't defeat you. Noise can't derail you. It's the state where, even if the world crumbles, your inner resolve holds firm. This comes only from living by unshakable principles, ones unmoved by public opinion, unshaken by emotions, undistorted by circumstances. That's when Stoicism stops being a philosophy to read and becomes the foundation of how you live. An unstoppable person isn't stubborn, but adaptable in action, while steadfast in values. They don't react rashly to chaos. They don't let fleeting emotions blur their long-term vision. They don't need to win every argument because they focus on winning in their own life. They know what they control and what they don't, so they pour everything into what they can change: their mindset, actions, attitude, and responses. Stoicism teaches you don't control the world, but you always control yourself. Master this long enough and you become unbreakable, not because you're always right, but because you're always clear-headed. Not because you're always strong, but because you're always ready to rise. Not because you're always supported, but because you always have your own respect. True strength isn't dominance, it's stability. It's keeping peace in chaos, holding values amid temptation, staying focused in the darkest fog. This strength doesn't flaunt, doesn't need spotlights or crowds. It's forged through every failure, every disciplined choice, every time you choose right over easy. To become unstoppable, you don't need to outshine others. Just be more consistent than yesterday's you. You don't need to outpace anyone. Just keep moving. Each day, do what needs doing. No need for recognition, inspiration, or external nudges. Step by step, you approach the person you respect. You'll doubt yourself. You'll see only failure. You'll feel the world's against you. But in those moments, you can choose not to yield. You can return to what you've learned, control what you can, let go of the rest. Stay silent and keep working. Choose persistence. Do this enough and persistence becomes your identity. You won't need motivation, you'll become it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. There lies an endless source of strength. But to see it, you must be still. You must pierce through fragile layers of old habits, fears, reflexes. You must pass through loneliness, doubt, exhaustion. When you reach your core, you'll realize you don't need to become someone else. You just need to reclaim the you you'd forgotten." Stoicism doesn't make you unfeeling. It makes you steady. You still love, dream, hurt, but you're not drowned by them. You feel emotions but aren't dragged by them. You act not from pressure or others' expectations, but because you know what's right. This makes you unmanipulable, undeterrable, unbreakable. Ultimately, the unstoppable aren't stronger than others. They're just people who've learned not to surrender to themselves. They know who they are, what they want, and are willing to pay the price with persistence, discipline, and absolute honesty with their inner truth. They don't rush, but they don't veer. They're not loud, but they're present. They don't demand understanding, but they understand themselves. If you're on the path to becoming unstoppable, still hesitating, still stumbling, comment, "I won't stop." If you've wanted to quit but chose to return, write briefly but clearly, "I'm continuing, though no one sees." If this chapter feels like a timely summation of what you're quietly building, like it to affirm you're on the right path. Share this video with someone doubting their inner strength. They may need a steady voice, not a noisy cheer. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Here, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real enough to start and resilient enough to not stop. Together, we'll build strength that can't be taken away, from within. You've walked with me through this journey, from disciplined silence to mastering emotions, from steadfast habits to embracing loneliness as part of a great path. You've seen that strength doesn't come from clamor, but from quiet persistence. You don't need applause, spotlights, or crowds to validate you. You only need honesty with yourself every single day. If this video feels timely, resonating with where you are in your quietest phase, remember, you're not alone. Many are at a similar point, unspoken, uncomplaining, steadily moving forward, and you're one of them. If you're ready to live authentically, work hard, ignore the noise, and build a resilient life from within, comment, "I choose silent action, steadfastness, and depth." Don't forget to like if this video sparks some inner strength. Share it if you know someone who needs this message. And if you want to stay on this path with content rooted in philosophy, discipline, and awakening, subscribe now. The journey isn't easy, but you don't need easy. You just need real. Thank you for choosing to keep going. See you in the next video, where we'll continue growing in silence and resolve.